Hi everybody, I'm Corinne Blackstone and welcome to my craft room. I'm so happy to have you here today. Be sure that you're subscribed here on YouTube. That way you don't miss out on any of the fun, crafty content we have coming. Totally free to subscribe. All you have to do is hit the subscribe button just down below. Now in today's tutorial, I'm going to show you how to make these really fun cake toppers. And what's great about these, other than the fact that this one's trying to run away, is that I added the names to them so that they are stuck to the numbers. And I just thought this was really fun. This one is a full glitter, so it may just be a little difficult to see on screen with my lighting. And then this one I just did with some cardstock. But I'm going to show you how to decorate these and create these from scratch. They're really, really fun. These make such a fun impact on anything that you want to make. You can make them big, small, use them for the front of cards. They don't just have to be cake toppers. So without further ado, let's head over to Cricut Design Space and get started. These custom toppers or card fronts, whatever you want to use them for, you absolutely can, are so easy to make, and I can't wait to show you how. You're only going to need to know a few really simple skills, so let's get started. The first thing that we will do is we're going to start with the text that we're using. So for these, we're going to use a number and a name, and I'll show you a couple different versions of this so that you can get a really good idea on how you can create this. The first thing I'm going to do is open up a text box by using the little text over here on the left. Now for this design, we're going to start with a number. So let's say that this child's going to be 3 years old. Now, one thing that I really want to stress is that you can use any fonts, any styles that you want to. But what I like to do is I like to have a really thick number because I just think A, that looks really cute, and B, it's going to give you a little bit more space to connect your name to. So what I want to do is I'm going to choose a font. Now, I don't love a lot of the Cricut fonts, so I do choose to use system fonts a lot more often. But I want to show you a quick trick where you can see what your fonts are going to look like before you have to sit there and scroll all the way through Cricut. This website is wordmark.it, and what you'll do is you can enter your word, your phrase, a letter, a number, whatever you want to use. So I'm going to put the 3 in. Then you're going to hit the arrow. It's going to bring up all of your fonts and show you what the number 3 is going to look like. Now, I will say that sometimes it can be a little difficult to see when it's a little bit small like this, but don't worry about it. It is really actually very easy to do, and you can actually make them bigger by clicking this little bigger button. And look at that. You can make them really, really big. So that's a quick trick that is really helpful when you're working with Wordmark. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to scroll through these. And what I want is I want a really good, thick number. Arial Black is a great choice. So I'm going to select that one. That may not be what we go with, but what you can do is you can scroll through all of your number 3s here, and you can pick out the ones that you like the style of, you like what they look like, anything like that. If there's one that stands out to you as oh, I really like that one, you can choose it. And at the end, when we get to the bottom, what we're going to do is compare the numbers that we have chosen, and that'll help us pick which font we're going to use. Now, I'm going to go ahead and scroll through these because I do have quite a few. And keep in mind that this only brings up your computer fonts. It won't bring up Cricut fonts. So if you're a Cricut font user, you'll have to scroll on Cricut. But here, I can just kind of choose the different 3s that I like, and I'm going to compare them here in just a second, and I'll show you how. Now that I've hit the bottom, what I'm going to do is choose this filter selected fonts up here at the top, and I'm going to go ahead and choose from these fonts. Now I can make these a little bit smaller if I want to see them just all on one page. Now I will say with this Enjoy Summer highlight one, these little highlights don't show on Cricut Design Space, but comparing that to my other 3s, I just don't like it. So I'm going to go ahead and remove that design. I'm just going to kind of go through and say oh, do I really like it, or is it just not what I'm going for? Century Gothic Bold, I don't like compared to the other ones, and same with this Franklin Gothic Heavy. I also don't really love this Omnis Bold one, and I think that this one's kind of close. This one doesn't quite do it for me, not quite the look I'm going for, because I do want to use a script font for this one so that you can see how to do that. So I want a 3 that's a little more plain, I guess is the word I'm going for. Honestly, I think Impact is the winner. I think that's the 3 style that I want to go with. So let's head back to Cricut Design Space. So here in Cricut Design Space, I'm just going to search for that font name, and we know that it's Impact. So I can just search for IMP and choose Impact. So this is the font we're going to go with for our 3. Now I'm going to make this bigger because we're going to need to attach a name to it. Now I'm going to change the color. I don't love looking at black. I think that it'll look a little nicer in purple. But again, Do this how you want, whatever works best for you. Now what we're going to do is add the text for our name. So this little girl is going to be Ashley. Again, do this with any name that you like. I just sort of picked just a name. Now again, we can go to wordmark.it to look at our fonts. Now I can change this to the name that I want to see, and I can go to this and I can just type in her name. So she's going to be Ashley. And again, I'll just click the arrow. What's great about this is, again, it's going to bring up all of your fonts so you can take a look and see which one might work for the design that you're going with. Now, I do want to do a script font, but I want something thicker. So like this Alfresco is a little thin, a little curly for what I want. So what I'm going to do is I want to find ones that are maybe a little bit heavier, like this awesome Everyday Regular is pretty heavy. I don't love that one, so I know that's not the one I'm going to go with. But I like to look for a little bit of a thicker font that I think will work for the design. Same thing, I've hit the bottom, so I'm going to go to my filter my selected fonts, and I will make these a little bit smaller so we can see them all because I did pick a couple. And so from here I can kind of get rid of them. Now you'll notice that some of them are still the ones selected from before. You can just delete them if those are not ones that you want. Like I don't want it in impact. Now I did choose this Lovely Mood script one because that's just a font that I really like, but I just don't think it's going to fit the vibe now that I kind of see it. So we'll get rid of that one. Now I don't also think that one's quite it. So we'll get rid of that. And I can really compare these a little bit better. Like I like to look, I'll start with the first letter and say, okay, do I like the look of the first letter in all of these fonts? And I got to be honest, I don't like it in this one and I don't like it in that one. I kind of prefer the A's to look like these A's. So then I go through and I'm like, do I like the S? I think all the S's look nice. Do I like the H? I don't like the H here, so I can get rid of that one. So that really brings us down to Hello Bella and Pink Vibes. Both are really, really cute. So I just kind of go through each letter and say, do I like the way that letter sits? And honestly, I prefer the Hello Bella version of the letters. So let's head back to Design Space and we'll change that to Hello Bella. So here in Design Space, again, we can just simply change the font. And again, since we know what it's called, you just search for the name of the font. So we know that it's Hello Bella, and we want to use the Hello Bella bold italic as an option. Now, another thing that I want to point out to you is that sometimes Design Space will bring you weird things. Notice that I have Hello Bella right here, but it didn't find that one. So Design Space has been a little bit weird. I don't want it to be italic, but you can definitely kind of play with this and see how like we have the italic, we have bold italic, or we just have bold versus just regular. I kind of like the bold, so we're going to go with the bold. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of that now. Now with this name, what we're going to do is I'm going to right click on this and I'm going to combine it and unite it just so those little white lines aren't in the way, because I just don't like the way it looks. It's for my brain, it just wants to see it all as one piece. Now I am going to rotate this, and you want to rotate it 90 degrees so that it is going to sit along the side of your 3. Now what we want is we want it to connect to the 3, but it doesn't have to like fully connect, because if it's, you'll notice like this Y might get a little bit drowned out in the 3. So you can do this in a lot of different ways. You can make the name smaller if you want. You can make the name bigger if you want. You can change the angle of the name. Maybe we need to angle it a little bit more like this so that that Y can stand out a little bit more. You just do what works best for you and like the way you want your design to look. There's not really a right or wrong way. You can make this much smaller. You could put it down here if you want. You could put it up here. Maybe you want it to sit like this where it's just barely connecting. There's no wrong way to do it, but I personally am going to make it a little bit bigger. Now, another thing that you can do if you prefer, I'm going to show you a quick little trick. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to right click. I'm going to undo this unite. I'm going to right click on this again, and I'm going to choose ungroup because this is going to allow me to actually move this Y up a little bit. I still want it to connect, but what I want is I want this Y little tail not to be fully eaten up by that 3. Then once I've done that, I select all of the letters, right click on this, go to combine and unite it again. Now that Y is going to sit a little better on the 3. So once you kind of get this where you want it to sit, I want this to sit just so that top of the A here is going to connect and this Y. The other thing that you want to make sure is that all of your letters are holding together, touching each other, because if they're not, it's going to fall apart when you try to put this together on your cake topper. I want the 3 and the name to be one solid piece. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to select both items, right click here, go to combine, and again, I'm going to use unite because I can undo unite if I want to change anything. Maybe I want to change the name, whatever it may be. That's why we use unite. Now the next thing that we're going to do in order to make this like a super cute cake topper, you could leave it like this and it is so cute. Like there's nothing wrong with this. But what I like to do is add a little bit of an offset just so that A, it has a little more structure, and B, you can add some color, you can add some texture, you can do whatever you want to it to really make it stand out and pop. So I'm going to go ahead and go to the little pen and I'm going to use offset. Now I want our first offset to be a little bit smaller. I don't want it to be huge. And I'm going to show you a quick little trick because I don't want like these little holes in it. Like you see how we have holes here with the name and like holes in this. We're going to get rid of all that. So I think this is a good size. So I'm going to click apply. Now for visual sake, I do like to take this and just change the color to something that like matches a little bit better. Now you can absolutely cut your offset like this if you prefer. That's totally up to you. You can do that. But for me, I really prefer to fill the holes in. So I'm going to select my contour here. I'm going to go to the pen and I'm going to go to contour and I'm going to hide all contours. And what that does is it just fills in all this space here so that it's a solid piece. Now, like I said, I want to add a little bit more texture to this, a little more dimension. I'm going to add another offset and I'm going to go ahead and add that offset. Now, again, you can change that color just so you can visualize what your design is going to look like. Maybe you're going to use pastel colors. Maybe you're going to use fall colors. Whatever the colors may be, you can absolutely kind of play around with this and just get like a look at what you're kind of going to be building. You can add as many offsets as you wish to. Now this yellow one also has a hole, which we're going to go ahead and fill in because a hole drives me crazy. So I'm just going to click hide all contours and it gets rid of that small hole. Now you can really cut it like this as is if you want to, or we can, of course, add more offsets. It's really, again, truly up to you and how you want your design to look. So maybe I want to add another offset and maybe I want this last offset to be a bit bigger so that it really kind of takes up a lot more space. So I'm going to go ahead and click apply. Now maybe this one I'm going to do with some silver glitter. I don't know. I have no idea. I have to see what cardstock I have downstairs to make this. But once I've got this designed just like this, how I want it, we're good to go. We can absolutely simply cut this out. Now this is going to be giant. This is like 9 inches wide and almost 11 inches tall. So this is going to be a really big cake topper if we were to make it that big. I will reduce the size. Depending on the size of your cake would depend on the size of your topper. So keep that in mind. Now I'm going to show you another option for this. So I'm going to go ahead and just size this down. I'm probably just going to do like 5 inches. And I'm going to just push this over to the side. I'm going to go ahead and group this. So you can see here, you've got some options. You've got like your flatten, you've got duplicate, but you also have group. What that does is if I go to click away from this and click on it, everything will move at the same time. So I don't have to worry about like messing anything up. Now we're going to do another one. And I want to do this one with like a regular font so that it's just a little bit less girly. So for this one, and we'll do 2 numbers for this one, we're going to say that we've got a kid turning, let's go 11. That seems like a decent number. We'll do 11. So I've got 11s. Now again, choose whatever font you want. It does not matter. It's whatever font you choose that you like. Now, like I said, I do really like Impact for these. I just think that it's a really good font. And I do think that it holds up really well as far as like imaging and things like that. But you can truly go through here and find whatever you like. If you don't like Impact, that's okay. I mean, that one's kind of just looks like blobs, but it's fun. So you can really choose whatever you want. Cooper Black has kind of an odd one. Broadway's got a cool one. You can really match these designs to whatever style you're doing for your party. So now I think those ones are cool for a kid, for a boy. So let's go with those. Again, I'm going to change the color just because I don't like looking at black. Now let's pick out a name for this kid. Let's say that this kid getting his birthday is going to be Jeremy. Now, Jeremy here is going to do all caps because it's going to sit a little bit nicer and look a little bit better than it would if you did it in lowercase and capital letters. So we've got Jeremy here. Now I can change the font on Jeremy if I want to. I could also use the same font, truly up to you. do what works best for you and your designs. Like Cooper Black could be cool. Enjoy Summer's a cool one. You know what? Let's do Enjoy Summer. I think that one looks really neat. I like that one. So now again, same thing. What we'll do is we're going to rotate this and we're going to rotate it 90 degrees, which you can do this way, or you can click on the pen to rotate. And what you'll do is you'll do the same thing. You're going to line it up along the base or the side here of your letter. And you want to make sure it overlaps a little bit. And then all I'm going to do is select both items, right click, go to combine, and choose union. Now you've got this really cool looking sign for your cake topper. Now I'm not worried about the two ones touching because I can glue the one on to the cardstock. But again, I want to make sure I've got that offset to make this look just extra special. Now, if I don't love where this one is sitting, maybe it's a little far away, I could undo the unite, undo all that, move the one, ungroup it, or what I can do is I can just open up a shape. I can open up any shape. It doesn't really matter, but a square is usually easiest. And then all I do is I cover that one with my square. And then I want to just slice this out, right? So all I can do is I can right click here and click slice. And then you can see now I'll be able to move this one independently. So I can move it a little bit closer if I want to, which I do want to do. I don't want them too far apart, but I didn't want them like on top of each other. I'm going to align them and I want to center them so that they match up. I'm going to do the ones on the bottom here so that I make sure everything lines up. Then I'm just going to right click, go to combine, and I'm going to unite that again just so that it's all one piece. Then we can add that offset, which again, so easy to do, and you can really add however many you want. Maybe you just want one, maybe you want two, whatever it may be, you do that. Now I want to make this just a little bit bigger because I think for this one, I'm just going to do one offset just so you can see what that looks like. Then I'm going to click apply and I want to fill that hole in because again, I just don't love it. You don't have to. You can leave that hole if you don't mind it being there, but it's not for me. It's not the color I would choose. So now we've got Jeremy's little design here all made up. So you can see it's very easy to make these cake toppers and you can really add anything that you want to them to jazz them up. Maybe Jeremy plays soccer. So let's look for an image. Let's see here. Let's find a soccer ball. Maybe he plays football. I don't know. Maybe Jeremy does crazy things. Who the heck knows? But I'm going to just choose one of these designs. We'll just use this guy. And this is our little soccer ball. And you can see the soccer ball is not solid, which is actually a good thing because the way I want to design this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just add this little soccer ball to Jeremy's design. You can put it wherever you want, but I think down here in this bottom corner is a great area for the ball to go. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to duplicate the ball by using this little duplicate button right here. I'm going to use contour because I'm going to fill the ball in and I'm just going to click hide all contours. And that should, with any luck, give us a solid ball, but it didn't because Cricut Design Space. So sometimes it goes a little cuckoo crazy and doesn't give you what you want. So you might need to go back in. Now there is a little hole up here that I see I need to contour with. And now we should have just a solid ball. It's not always quite that annoying, but sometimes it is. Now I'm going to make this a completely different color just so you can see. I'm going to cut it in white, but that'll help you see what I'm doing. Now all I want to do is I just want to make sure that my soccer ball and my little green ball will fit on top of each other, which they do. And so now we can just add this little extra piece to our design to make it more into Jeremy, whatever Jeremy's into. And you can do that with all sorts of different designs, characters, whatever you may want to do. Now I'm going to cut this all on cardstock, but you could absolutely use print and cut, and I'll link a video where I show you how to design a little like cake topper with print and cut. But for this, I want to cut this all on cardstock because I just think it'll be really fun. Now I'm going to go ahead and make sure that I save my project, and I'm going to save this as cake topper names, just so I know what it is, and click save. Once it's saved, then you can hit the make button and you'll see here that it's going to take us to our design. Now I'm going to cut the two here, these two very back pieces in the same color, but you'll see here that you have all of your mats with all of your different pieces and parts. But what I really want to point out are these two. You can see that the name is all going to cut as one piece with this letter or this number. And then same with this name, it will be cut along with the number. So you'll need 7 mats of paper to do this, but this is going to be really fun and it's so pretty when it's all done. So let's head over to the machine and get this cut out. We're ready to start cutting out the cake toppers. I'm gonna do one at a time just to make it a little less confusing for me. So we're gonna put our first color down. You can do these in any color that you want to. You don't have to do them exactly like I do. I'm gonna put this on my light grip mat, load this in. I'm gonna let it cut out. I'm gonna cut out all the pieces and parts. I've got the parts for the soccer ball and for the letters. This is the back. And once those are all cut out, I'll show you how to assemble everything, and we'll cut out the other one as well. For the one for Ashley, I'm going to use some glitter cardstock. Now this I do cut on the heavy cardstock setting. It is quite a bit thicker. Now for me, I don't have trouble when I cut it face up with the kind that I'm using, which I will link down below. I got it on Amazon and I honestly love the quality of it, and it's so sparkly and pretty. So we'll go ahead and get all those cut out, and then I'm going to show you how to assemble. So what we're gonna do here, I've got foam tape in various thicknesses. All of these are from Dollar Tree. Love these, such a good deal. They come in a pack of 3 for like $1.50. I've got some Elmer's glue here. This is the craft bond kind, so it won't damage anything. And that we're gonna use on our little soccer ball because I don't wanna have to try and foam tape that. And then we've got all our pieces for our cake toppers, and I've got a couple paper straws so I can show you how to glue these to the back so that you can put those into your cake. Now let's go ahead and we'll start with Jeremy because that one pretty easy. So let's start with our soccer ball. Now the cool thing is this glue dries completely clear. So for this, I'm just gonna put the glue on to the ball of the soccer ball, the white part. That way I'm not trying to like glue the little teeny tiny bits and pieces of that soccer ball because that seems real difficult and I don't want to do that. So I'm going to go ahead and get this layered on to our circle. Now I find for me that the easiest way to do it is I hold the circle and the black piece and I use my fingers to kind of guide where the edge is. And then you can slide this around a little bit if it's not quite where you want it. And now your soccer ball is done. I'll set that over to the side to dry. Now again, that glue dries totally clear. You don't need to worry about it. And now I'm gonna flip these 2 pieces over and we're gonna use foam tape. Now for these, I can use the thicker foam tape along the line. And all I'm gonna do is pull out some foam tape, cut that off, and just lay it here on the one. I'll do the same thing on the other. And just lay that down. Now these are so easy to assemble. You can even have your kids help you if they're really good at lining stuff up, whatever you want to do, but these are so much fun, and I feel like this is such a way that you can add a little bit of depth and dimension to your design. Now sometimes the paper doesn't always love to come off, like I'm struggling a little on that one, but we got it. Now we need to line it up here onto our cardstock back. So what I like to do is I'm going to start with this one, because this one I feel like I can really see where center is. I'm just gonna get that lined up. Perfect, beautiful, love it. Now with this one, you can use the name to help you kind of get everything lined up where it goes. And simple as that, you're done. Now you could definitely add additional pieces of foam tape if you want this to sit out a little bit more. So for our soccer ball, that one I do want to be a little further out from the cake topper. Now again, I can use this thick tape, it's totally fine. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cut a few squares of this. Let me flip this over. It's not fully dry, but it'll be okay. I'm not really worried about getting a little Elmer's glue on my table. And I'm gonna go ahead and stack a few pieces of this tape because it's not super thick, but you can definitely thicken it up by just adding kind of a layering to it, and then you can make it really pop. And you can do that for any of these pieces. I might do that for the glitter cardstock one just so it pops out a little bit more. I think 3 pieces is probably good for that. So I'm gonna go ahead and peel this back real quick. And what we'll do is we'll glue this, like we'll tape this, I guess it's not really glue, but we're gonna go ahead and foam tape this right on to our design wherever we want it to sit. So I think I'll kind of want it at the bottom of this one and I just pushed it down. And now if you look at it from the side, you'll see it a little bit better. But do you see how much this one sticks out versus the ones? And that just kind of makes that ball pop a little bit more. I'll get you guys a closer up view. I'm gonna put this to the side, let that ball dry, and then we'll put the sticks on at the end, just because that's kind of a little bit easier to do. Now we have our glitter design. This one is so fun. I'm afraid it's a little hard to see on camera, but this is such a cute, cute, cute design. Now again with this, I can use this thick tape, I can use the thinner one, it doesn't matter. But I do have quite a bit of the thinner, so I'm gonna go ahead and use that tape today for our 3. Now with this one, I don't want to put huge, big lines of tape because you don't necessarily need them. I'm just going to put a couple of well-placed pieces, and then we'll add a little bit of dimension and layering to them just to bring them out a little bit more so that this really, really pops. Now, I don't think that you need to watch me layer all of these together. I really, really don't. I think you'll be okay. I think you get the concept. So what you can see that I'm doing here is I'm just adding kind of tape to a few spots where I just want to make sure that it's going to stand out, mostly just around like the edges. So then all I'm going to do is I'm just going to peel off the paper here, like the little sticky cover. And then what I'll do is I'll go ahead and get the next pieces cut out and layer those. And then I'll show you kind of how we set this all together. But again, I'm going to kind of speed through this just because I don't think you need to watch me do this for all these parts. Truly, gluing the stick on is so simple. So I'm just going to flip both of these over, and you can use 2 sticks if you would like to, but I don't want to waste them since I'm not putting these into cake. And honestly, these are just paper straws. I would get like the plastic cake sticks, which you can find at most of the craft stores. You just basically kind of find where general center is. It doesn't have to be exact. And I like to use a hot glue gun, but there are lots of like glue dots and stuff like that that'll work as well. But for me, I'm a big fan of the glue gun. Also kind of depends on how clean you want this to look. You can always cover this up with something if you don't want like the glue to show. But all I do is I make sure that that stick goes into the glue and the glue kind of seeps out on the sides. Then I'm going to set this one over to the side and let that dry. And then I'll do the same here for this one. And again, I'm just putting kind of a glob of glue down. I usually do like 2-3 little passes, and then I just take the stick. Now when I put the stick down, I do rotate it just a little bit just to get that glue kind of around the edge. Literally, that's all you have to do. This is not like a rocket science. It has to be done in a specific way. Now you want to make sure, of course, that it'll hold into your cake. So don't use cardstock for the stick. You can use, like I said, the cake sticks that you can get at basically any craft store, any like party supply store will have them. I'm gonna let these dry, and then I'm gonna just kind of stick them in something so you can see what they look like. Because guys, I love you, but I'm not investing in an entire cake. And here are your finished cake toppers. These are so fun. You can do these with any styles, any designs, any colors. Add as many embellishments as you want to, glitter, cardstock. There's no right or wrong way to do these. Just make them fun and have fun doing it. If you have any questions, please let me know in the comments down below. I'm always happy to answer those for you. Be sure you're subscribed here on YouTube. That way you don't miss out on any of the fun, crafty content we have coming. I've linked everything I used in this video down below so that you can make your very own toppers. I hope you all have a wonderful day, and as always, happy crafting.